everybody. This is Carol, and welcome to our live broadcast this evening. I'm so excited that we've got a very special guest, a really good friend of mine today, who is already waiting in our green room, who is going to be talking to us about the challenges of education abroad. The challenges of education abroad. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring her on. I know that she's already waiting, and I know that you're going to gain some great insight. If you're a parent or if you're a teenager that is already on board, that's thinking about traveling abroad, this is definitely going to be the session for you. So, my good friend, I'm just waiting. Hi,
hey.
How are you? So let me see. Now we've got to sort
Do we
out
have
this
feedback?
Let me turn the sound down. How are you? Wait, let's see. Okay, one of your devices you need to turn down.
Can you still hear me? Do we still have feedback?
Okay, I am getting a little bit of feedback, but I don't know if it's you or me. Okay, let me see if that makes any difference.
Can you still hear me? Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So it might be from my end.
Okay, I think there's a problem because we're on two devices, two networks. Hi everyone, good to see you. Welcome. We're just sorting out some of the technical issues before we get started. Better.
So what I've done is I've muted the mic on the other device, but I may not, that means you wouldn't hear me when I'm on the other device.
Yes, they will be able to hear you.
You sure?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let's try it.
Right, I'm just pinning the topic for today, which is the challenges of education abroad. So please, if you know parents of teenagers that are in SS3 currently, or even SS2 and are considering traveling abroad to study, please let them know that we're online, because this is going to be a really informative conversation today. So Debbie, welcome. My guest is Debbie Oko. Have I said it right? Oko. Very good friend. Debbie, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Okay, so my name is Debbie, like she's rightly said. And I like to describe myself as an international education consultant, but also someone who is well versed in vocational and careers counseling.
Someone who? I missed that.
As well versed in vocational and careers counseling and consulting.
Wonderful. So Debbie, tell me exactly what it is that you do. What is it you do on a day-to-day basis? I know you've got a number of hats that you wear.
Okay. So what I do on a day-to-day basis as a career is I counsel and consult with individuals, organizations, and parents on education abroad. Okay. So that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. I also do a lot of careers counseling. So I'm confused about what to study. I'm confused about what to do in life. I had this as my first degree. I don't know what to do as my second degree. Or I'm in technical. I don't know what to do at university level. I do a lot of all that careers consulting and counseling as well.
Okay. I think we have a slight issue with the network. I don't know if it's on your network, but it's certainly on my on my laptop. It's gone dead. So if you're online now and you're listening in and you can actually hear us having a discussion and you can see us, please just give us a thumbs up. Let us know.
I can see you and I can hear you perfect.
I know, but I'm also looking at my laptop, but it could just be my laptop. I'm hoping it's just my laptop because it says something went wrong.
I'm trying to face it as well.
Right. StreamYard has gone down here on the laptop. So I don't know if that's going to affect us here. Here we are in Nigeria. There's always problems when it comes to network, I'm afraid.
Always, yeah.
Always. So just bear with us. Just bear with us. Let me just change networks with regards to the laptop, because I know that that will affect the StreamYard link. All right, we're coming back. We're coming back. We're coming back. It's good to see some of you on board. Mr. Goody, I've seen you. Educate Blog, Kerry, good to see you. New Jersey Company, good to see you. Richard, it's good to see you. So many people on board. Thank you so much for coming on board. We really, really appreciate it. I hope you can still see us. Just give us a minute or two. Good. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. Okay, so please tell us, Debbie, in light of this, I mean, seriously, are people still going to go abroad to study? To the UK, to the US, to Europe? Do you think, is the demand still as heavy as it is? What would you advise, what would you be advising parents now?
You know, I was, of the mind that this pandemic was going to affect a lot of things. But I will tell you that more people want to thank, for that. But it's amazing that there are more people who have a lot more interest to put their education in place now than ever before. So I'm getting a lot more inquiries, I'm getting a lot more push, I'm getting a lot more people come up, and in spite of the fact that there is the pandemic and things are not the way it should be, and there are worries here, left, right, and center, there is also a whole lot of interest that I have not seen in a long time.
Right.
And I would that somewhat to either the fact that the pandemic has opened up the eyes of people to take, their career bulls by the horns and realize that you need to do a lot better for yourself now more than ever, or it could just be a combination of the fact that you can see that the economy can crash at any time, and our country needs a lot more.
The network again. Okay, Debbie, just bear with us. The network has gone down. Just give us 1 minute. Technically, it's coming up. Just hang on. Okay, you're back. You're back. So you were saying that you feel that people are taking their bull by the horns and really seeing the importance of a great education, right?
Yeah. A lot more people now are more interested in, maybe not an interest, maybe it's a continuation of what has always been there.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But I do think that, I mean, I work in primary and secondary education. So I'm wondering whether it's that people are finally realizing and understanding that there are some issues here in Nigeria with the curriculum. Not to say that it's all bad, because people leave here and study abroad and do incredibly well. So there's definitely something to be said about the curriculum here. But certainly there are some problems and issues with regards to things like critical thinking, problem solving, and so on and so forth. Do you think that that's part of the issue? Do you think that's part of the problem? Or part of the reason why people go abroad?
Yeah, well, I think, to be honest, those issues have always been there, and we've somewhat, we've always known that they were there. And a lot of people have kind of, lived with it. But hey, Carol, this is 2020. Things are changing. The world is now a global village. Things are opening up. And some of those things that we have, ignored for a long time are beginning to slap us in the face. And we are beginning to realize that we need to take the bull by the horns. We need to get these things done. We need to get this thing sorted. So I think this is why people are saying, yes, there is a pandemic. I mean, if you look at the different countries, the way each country is managing the pandemic also goes to show that we are lagging behind.
Yeah.
So when you're having universities abroad tell you they're putting systems and structure in place, and you can trust the system and structure, and you know it's not going to interrupt your study.
Right.
You might as well go there and get your study done.
Yeah.
Rather than put your life on hold here when there is, it doesn't seem as though there is a solution. So many more institutions, foreign institutions are talking about, online studying. They're taking studying on, they're taking this online, free courses. We're seeing a lot of courses online. And then when you compare that with what we have here, you're kind of
breaking up a little bit. Network has gone down again. Let's just hope it comes back. Okay. Just 1 minute. This network is not being favorable to us today. It really isn't. Let me see. Okay.
Okay, so I can hear you clearly here, but if I turn on the mic here, it will affect the echo on Instagram.
Instagram has.
So I think my network on Instagram is poor.
Instagram has.
My network on Instagram is poor, but this network is
Instagram's
is good.
Out. So let's try and.
So let me connect. Let me connect to the same network provider that I'm using this on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I can easily, keep talking. So if you will give me 2 minutes, give me 2 minutes, I'll be back.
If you're still there and you're still on Facebook Live, just give us a minute while we change networks. Any better? Is that any clearer? So those of you that are watching on Facebook Live, please give us a minute. We have had technical issues, so bear with us. We are talking today about the challenges of education abroad with my guest who has just gone to change. So she will be back with us shortly, and as soon as she's back, go live back on Instagram. So if you're there, if you're on Facebook, please, it's good to see you. Please write your comments. Let us know you're there. Let us know that you can hear us.
Right. So I think we're good to go for Instagram
we're still
again.
live on Facebook, but we'll go live again shortly on Instagram. Are we good to go? And
yeah,
go live again. For those of you watching on YouTube, those of you that are watching on Facebook, please bear with us. We're still trying to sort out a few technical issues, but I'm back with my guest who will soon be joining us on Instagram. Just waiting for her to come. Waiting for her to come live on Instagram.
Right, I've seen you. I've just seen you now.
Yeah, there she is.
I'm waiting for your request. I haven't seen it.
It's waiting. It says it's waiting for you. Let me cancel and send it again. So those who are watching that have come live with us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry, we've had a few technical issues, but we are coming back live and direct on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook. It's good to see you. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again. Today we're talking about the challenges of education abroad. Let me turn this one down. The education.
Is it better?
Fine. Okay.
I think we got this now.
I think we've got it. I think we've got it. Hi, Cece. I've seen you. Okay. We're just going to pin the topic. Just give us a second while we pin the topic, which is the challenges of education abroad. Welcome to Instagram Live. Welcome to Facebook. Welcome to YouTube again. I have my guest with me, Debbie Oko. Did I say it correctly?
That's right.
Good, good, good,
That's
good.
right.
Yay. So Debbie is a career consultant, and she wears a number of hats in a number of capacities. So again, Debbie, just because we're just going live again, perhaps you'll introduce yourself again.
Okay. So, hi everyone, my name is Debbie Oko. I am an education and careers consultant.
Ignore
and,
me.
Yeah, so like Carol says, I wear many hats, but I'm into international education and careers consulting, basically. And what on a day-to-day basis is I speak to students, I speak to organizations, I speak to universities, I speak to conglomerates, and I do a lot of education and leadership development. I do a lot of careers counseling. I do a lot of career guidance as well.
Great. Fantastic. Well done. So Debbie, just going over now, we were talking about a little while ago about the pandemic and the impact that the pandemic is having. Now, you know, I work in secondary education, so we had a little conversation. Now, I'm going to change the question slightly rather than repeat what we have done. The government has recently announced, first of all, they announced that the schools were going to go back for SS3, the exam groups, and that WIAC would take place. And almost 24 hours later, they reviewed that and said that they wouldn't be doing that. Now, what is the impact going to be of not doing JAM on the students that are leaving university or leaving school and applying for universities this year?
Well,
I mean, first of all, I don't know what to say about our government, but I would just say that we've come to the point where we realize that we've got to take some decisions and take some decisions all by ourselves. And it's a very sad situation if you have a government you cannot rely on to make
the absolute best decision for you. In the first place, I don't think it's an issue that schools are not resuming. And I mean, there are two ways to look at it. And I would say it's
two ways. I mean, the first way is this. It's a good thing that there is health and safety being considered, instead of asking students to come back to school, but they're, being forward thinking about the health and safety of the students. That in itself is good. What is not good is the fact that there are no modalities in place. And nothing has been put in place to curb and to fill the void of students not being in school. Okay, so I know that Kenya, for example, has said that they are not having any school till next year. And that cuts across from primary all the way to university. But what they've done is they have put in place modalities to help students to learn from home. So online study is compulsory. Online study is not something that it's, you know, it has been left to the devices of whether there is a private school doing it or there is a private school not doing it. Do you understand? Online studying has been put in place, and the government is actively involved. So, but in this case, you're saying that there is no school till next year, and the government is not actively involved. So it means that it is up to me to decide what my child is going to do between now and next year. So I would not want, if I can afford it, I would not want to keep my child at home. The pandemic has even made things a lot easier for people. You can sign on to schools abroad so much easier now because it's online. You know, I'll give you a typical example.
With students that are going in this year, with students that are going to go to university this year, your SS3 students that should be doing JAM and therefore applying to universities abroad, is that going to cause them a problem in terms of getting access, getting admissions?
So usually we will use their WAEC, you know, for them to be able to study abroad. Definitely it will be a problem.
Right.
But the thing is this, it will now, the whole situation now falls on individual universities, individual foreign universities, to assess the students based on maybe their SS1 to SS3 results. Okay. You know, the UKVI or government immigrations do not actually interfere in how you assess a student. If you decide that you're going to assess a student, you know, and get their suitability for a course in this regard, then you're able to say, I have assessed the student using ABC and they are suited for the course that they want to go into. So a lot of, I mean, because this just happened, universities are going to have to sit back and decide on how, how are they going to begin to assess this student? Are they going to say they can't come on? Are they going to say, well, because you haven't written your WAEC account, there's nothing to assess you with, then we'll have to wait till next year? The onus is on the universities at this time.
And the universities that you've been dealing with, what generally have they been doing?
I mean, again, because this is a recent issue that just came up, I can't really comment on it because everyone is like, still wondering, like, I mean, on one hand, we were preparing towards August, September. We had that in place. Now we don't have that in place anymore. So we have to go back to the drawing board and begin to plan and decide what we're going to do. You know, I'm not sure any university has come up with any solution yet, but I am leaning towards the fact that we will probably use a student's transcript of higher education.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where the transcripts come in, and are very, very important. Although
important,
transcripts, are they valid? You know, that's the challenge.
There are no transcripts for third term at the moment.
Let's move on from there. Now, is there a difference between the age children enter university here in Nigeria and the age that they're supposed to enter university in the UK, the US? And how do you account for that discrepancy?
Okay, so in the UK, you've got a student has got to be 17 minimum before they get into university. And we know that here in Nigeria, there's some parents that like to fast track their children through secondary school. So we've heard of cases of students who finish secondary school at age 14 or at age 15. Unfortunately, what happens is that student has got like 2 years of their time, and they've got to fill that time. So I usually would advise a parent, well, sign them on for A-levels. If you want them to go and study abroad, they are underaged anyway. And if they were that good to have finished at age 14, then it means that they will be able to cope with A-levels. So sign them up for an A-level.
So a lot of this, this is an issue that I have in schools. This issue of missing classes, of jumping classes, and children being accelerated through the system. Why do people make those decisions? And do you feel that there is something missing? So, for example, you have a child that's, say, still 17, that is applying for a school overseas, versus a child that's maybe 18 or 19. Does that 1 year, 2 year gap, does it make a difference? Does it make a significant difference? Do you think that parents should actually wait until the child is sort of 18 plus before they send their children abroad?
It makes a whole world of difference, because this a 16-year-old is not as mature as a 17-year-old.
Right.
That 1 year makes a difference. I know that there's some children that grow quick and they're very more, they tend to be a bit more mature than their age. But you can't rule out the fact that a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old are definitely different. Okay, and going to study abroad, you need a lot of gumption.
Yes, you do.
You do need a lot of gumption.
Yes, you do. And then, I've got lots of questions for you.
Yeah, you do need.
I hope you'll flex and.
Yeah, so parents need to understand that you can't just take your child. I mean, the way you send a child to school here is totally different from the way you send a child to school abroad. The lifestyle is different, the climate is different, the culture is different, the shock is different.
Right.
So that
we'll definitely talk about those things.
Yeah.
We'll definitely talk about those things. So let's move on to the next question, which is, you've already started it. What are the peculiarities of life abroad? Now, I know, for example, because I've lived in the UK, that the thing that they are going to have to contend with is the weather. Especially because most of the courses will start September, October time. We're moving into the cold season, the rainy season, frost on the ground. How on earth do people make that transition? And what are the other peculiarities that you find?
Okay, so the truth is, there's so many things that hit a child when they relocate to study abroad. First off, like you say, is the weather. Secondly, is the culture shock.
Right.
Thirdly, is the learning environment. It's totally different. So when in secondary school here, you have a teacher stand in front of the class, write notes, give you notes, and then you cram your whatever it is, and then you write your exams, and then you get into a school abroad and you're asked to do research. You're asked to go and find out things. You're asked to go and study. You're asked to talk back to the teacher, talk back to your lecturer, and you're like, how is that possible?
By their first name.
You're asked to talk to them, but you call them by their first name, and you're like, how is that even possible? How am I going to? And it's also overwhelming. Okay, so those are some of the things that people need to be well prepared ahead about. Many people just think about, oh, I'm going to study abroad, and then the first thing that comes to their head is the money. Finances. Let me put the money together. And once they have the money, the parents don't tend to think about the fact that my child is going to be living far away from me. There's going to be a different environment. It's going to be so many things that they've got to contend with, which is what a parent should begin to look at. Not necessarily the fact that, oh, I've got the money, or I don't have the money. So culture shock. So society. The weather. The learning. The environment. These are things that will hit you. The food.
There's nothing wrong with our food in the UK.
There is nothing wrong with the food. There is nothing wrong with the food in the UK. It's just bland.
It's very different, right?
And it's very different. And for those of us,
Sorry.
Okay. And we like pepper, we like spice, we like flavors, So the first thing is, you arrive in the UK or even in the US, and you know, you're having to think about signing up for your course. You're having to think about, nobody's there to help you. Nobody's there to tell you, okay, I mean, they will guide you, but you've got to ultimately do everything yourself. You have to, there is no, you have to go and sign up for your course yourself. You have to attend orientation. You have to go for arrivals. And then another thing that hits you is the time. So they are very time conscious. We are not time conscious. So here we say, oh, school resumes on the 25th of September. And we are like, give it one more week. Once school resumes, it doesn't really resume, one more week, and then I can start attending classes. And then you get to the UK, or you get, you know, and then you find out that classes resume means classes resume. You miss one day of class, and everybody is like, where, and it just seems as though you've missed so much, and you begin to wonder, but it was just one day. These are things that, you know, you have to drill into your child, rather than just throw the child in abroad and say, go and study. And these are the challenges that more often than not are not addressed by parents, even by counselors sometimes, you know, and then we just, you know, send a child.
I also think that there's a problem in schools
because they don't have appropriate guidance, counselling. They don't, for example, you know, they don't train students to do research, to do independent research. The curriculum here is very much designed about, we give you the content, you go and learn the content, you pass an exam.
Yeah.
Whereas in the UK, right from really, even in primary, encourage students to read, to do research, to go and find things out. There's computers in every classroom, you know, at least 2 or 3 computers in each classroom. Primary. And these are in the state schools. So it's a totally different education system.
Yeah.
And I think the challenge is that if parents here are not mindful of the fact that the system here is different. I mean, I had a friend. She now lives in the UK, but she's Nigerian. She's Nigerian. When she was in Nigeria, she was an A+ student. I mean, straight across the board. She was a very bright child. Did exceptionally well in all of her studies. She went over to the UK to take her A-level, just like you suggested. She went to do her A-levels first. She failed the first year. She failed almost every single subject that she was studying.
Yeah.
And she was absolutely mortified. She was horrified. Yeah. And when she went back and started, she just was failing. And as she was getting towards the end of the year, she was meeting with the lecturers, she was in tears, she couldn't understand it. She'd always been seen top of the class. And suddenly she's failing these assignments. That when she went to see her lecturers and say, what am I doing wrong? Everything you taught us, I put down.
That's what she was doing wrong. That exactly was what she was doing wrong. She was regurgitating what she was taught. Exactly. Meanwhile, you're not supposed to regurgitate that. You're supposed to talk wide. You're supposed to read wide. And we're not taught to read wide.
These are some of the challenges.
Yeah.
These are definitely some of the challenges, which is, I think, why you're suggesting an A-level course or even a foundation course might be better for students that are transitioning between here and there. Wonderful. That's great. Recently in the news, now I want to talk about recent goings on, because one of the other issues, there's 2 things that I want to talk about that are quite, I think, are quite important when we're considering sending children abroad from here. And it's an issue that's close to my heart anyway. At the moment, because of the George Floyd issue. There's a lot going on. The man was murdered, black man murdered. Basically with the policeman's knee on his neck. And there's this big campaign, Black Lives Matter, and all of that. And I know that it's somewhat reached here. It's somewhat reached Nigeria. People are aware of it. But I don't know whether children going overseas really understand what they are going to face in terms of racism.
Yeah.
You know, here the vast majority of people are different shades of black. You know, varying colours, all the way from my colour down to the darkest black. So we're all black. In some way, shape, or form. When they go overseas, even I am considered black. I've had racist attacks. As fair as I am, I've experienced racism in my life, and I know my sister has as well.
Yeah.
How do you think? I mean, do you really think that schools and universities, once they get there, are adequately preparing children for that dynamic?
Okay, so one thing I would say is you need to research the school that you want to go and study in. Don't just up and go to a school simply because it sounds nice or it's a top university. Because sometimes the top ones are the ones who look away from things like racism. Because they don't have, I mean, they already have a reputation. They already have a reputation. They already have that, going for them. So one little issue on racism might not bring them down. But you see, the other schools, I mean, this is just an opinion. I'm not saying it is, but the other schools are, that are not like top schools are more conscious of the fact that they've got a reputation to protect. That's on one hand.
Right.
On the other hand, there are top schools that realize that they've got a reputation to protect, and they are very mindful of it. So they take things like racism very serious. So you see, you need to learn to know where exactly you're going. You can't just up and say, oh, because my child, my friend's son attended this university, then I should send my other child to this university. It doesn't work that way. You need to make sure that you research the university that you're going, and you need to ask questions. Things like this is the time for you to find out, okay, so what is your policy with regards to racism? How safe is the county? What has been in the news with regards safety? What has been in the news with regards security? What have you put in place with regards security for your international students, not just the blacks, but international students as a whole? What kind of community do you have? What kind of clubs and societies do you have? These are the things that you need to find out. And then when you find that out and you're convinced, then you also need to begin to talk to yourself or your child that when you arrive in a foreign land, it does not diminish, the fact that you've got a black skin does not diminish who you are. Because, and it's also because of the fact that we are not confident in ourselves. Where the way we're brought up, we're not brought up to be confident. We're not brought up to be able to look our elder in the face. Do you understand? So we cover a lot. And once the thing with racism is it's akin to bullying. So once a bully can sense and smell your fear, they capitalize on it. That's it. So you need to be confident in yourself. You need to understand why you've gone to that university to study, and you need to be able to stand up for yourself. But ensure that the safety of the city that you're going to is paramount. Because you see, the university can say that they are safe, but you're not going to spend all your time within the four walls of the university. You're going to go into the city at some point.
They're going to be going out.
Yeah. So and you might not experience anything within the university, but you will experience it when you go to the city. So you need to ensure that the city is safe. You need to ensure that at least you've read upon the city, you know how welcoming they are, you know how friendly they are towards. And the truth of the matter is racism will always be there. It's just that in some places it will be more pronounced than the other. But there might always be a subtle undertone. In the UK, there is racism. They're just more subtle about it. The US is more in your face about it. But in the UK, there is racism. It's just they just do it in a very subtle way, and in a very silent way, except in some areas where it's like in your face. But you've got to understand that. You've got to understand that there are very different countries have got different approaches to it. So I've mentioned that the UK is quite subtle. The US is in your face. Will you go to Russia and not expect racism? Would you go to China and not expect racism? Would you go to Australia and not expect racism? These are things that you need to look at. You know, so it's not just about the tuition fee. It's just not about going abroad. You've got to look at these critical issues and ensure that you are well versed, or your child is well, versed and well schooled in how to stand up for themselves and what to do in the event that this situation arises.
And that kind of leads me on a little bit to my next question, because children that especially, and this is my concern when children go there too young and before they're really emotionally prepared. Recently in the news, and this has come out especially when I was doing research for this show, I was reading that in America, there's a growing report of mental health issues amongst students. Suicide is the second leading cause of death amongst college students.
That's
and
right.
It claims more than 1,100 lives every single year. And then 50% of students have reported having suicidal thoughts because of the pressure. Now, those are 50% of all students. So if those students are local, imagine how much more pressure you have with students that are coming from abroad, that don't have a family network, that don't have people around them to support them. What would you say about that? How? So again, what is it that someone like you can do in counselling families, because you don't just work with the students, do you? You work with the families. What is it that you can do to actually support families in preparation for that? And also with regards to, because again, mental health is not something that's talked about a lot here.
Yeah.
So, people being depressed and having suicidal thoughts, those are not conversations that you can have with your parents. But they are real emotions. They how do you counsel people and prepare them for that possibility?
Okay,
so we're not saying these things are going to happen.
Yeah, but it's a very pertinent question, because it does happen, and many times students don't realize that what they are actually feeling is depression, because the pressure is a lot. So you arrive at school. I mean, there's this pressure of having to get your visas. You put everything in place, you arrive at school, say you even arrive like a day or two before classes are supposed to resume, and you're thrown into it, and you're having a lot of work. There's a lot of work for you to do. You've got to sign on here, you've got to do this here, and then you have all these materials that you've got to read that there was never something that you were used to, right? And then you have one lecturer telling you that you need to do this and do that, and then you have an assignment deadline, and you now realize that you can't wing this, because here, if you miss your assignment, you can go to the lecturer's office and say, please, sir, can I submit that or something? But this one, you submit your assignments online, and once the deadline is gone, it's gone. It's closed. So you're under a lot of pressure to study. You're trying to settle in. You're trying to get used to the weather. You're cold because the weather hits you hard. And you're like, but they said September is not the cold period, but it's cold. So what I try to do, what I always do, not try to do, but what I do a lot is do what we call the pre-departure briefing, or offer holder session. So I will get alumni from school, and I will get the offer holders, and I will tell you what to expect, what you need to do, what you need to put in place before you leave, what you need to put in place when you're leaving, and what you need to put in place when you arrive. And then I get alumni to talk about their experiences. How was it for you when you first arrived? What were the mistakes you made? What did you think you could have? What do you think you could have done better? What do you think you could have? What would you tell if this person was your brother going to study? What would you tell them? Would be the first thing you would say to them to prioritize And then we had this conversation, and many people, you know, even if we had this conversation, it doesn't really prepare you for when you're there, but at least it gives you a sense of direction. It gives you a sense of knowing.
It also gives you that place to go.
Like knowing what to do.
Exactly.
This happens.
Yes. And then during the pre-departures, I always emphasize on the fact that there is student support, because every university has got student support. We are not used to it. Does not mean that it's not there. It's there.
Right.
There is student support. There is a wellness center. There is a student union. There is the fact there is mental health support. There is the fact that you can sign on to go and speak to someone anonymously, because this is what you're going through. And they will tell you when you arrive at school, if you do not miss orientation, they will tell you during an orientation where to go. If you're beginning to feel pressured, if you're beginning to feel overwhelmed, you just need to be the one to take on that opportunity. I mean, that opportunity you've been given. But many times students forget that they have that support about his assignment, and it begins to weigh them down. There is support. That is what the Students' Union is there for. That is what the Dean of is there for. There is always support, you know. And then I always also say that as much as you can, ensure that you keep the communication channel with back home open. Make sure it's open. Make sure you're communicating back with your parents or whoever back home. It may not even be that you've got parents to communicate with, but make sure you've got someone you're speaking with. And if you begin to get overwhelmed, make sure you're able to speak to that person, you know.
Right.
Students call me when they are in school. They send me a message and say, oh, I've got issues with my accommodation. They can send messages. Oh, I don't know who to speak to. I don't know who to, I'm having a leaking roof, or my radiator has not been working for the past 3 days, and I'm freezing. And I've tried, I don't know who to speak to. And then from here, I can always send an email to accommodation and say, listen, you have this student, this is the student's number, and this is what they're going through. Can we get someone to go and check them out? Because they may not know what to do, and it's not their fault that they don't know what to do. Sometimes it's just that the information is just too much for them to take in, you know, at the same time, you know, all at once. So always reach out. That's what I say. Don't just bury alone. If you think that you will be able to overcome this issue all by yourself, and I will say to you that you can't. Because if it is not the schoolwork that will weigh you down, it is the cold that will weigh you down. If you're not in a cold environment, it is the lack of Nigerian food that may weigh you down. If it's not the lack of Nigerian food that will weigh you down, it may be the lack of Nigerian friends and the fact that you're missing the Nigerian community. The fact that you just want to hear the hustle and bustle of Lagos again. Anything can wait. Well, anything can be a trigger.
It's so funny because even when I came here, I would sometimes, go out to eat. Let me give you an example. When I go to Lagos, I go and stay in a hotel. And when you say to them in the hotel, oh, what do you want to eat? I said, what do you have? Oh, we have rice, and I'm like, but you have all these Western dishes.
Do you know why I'm laughing? I remember the time we had lunch.
Yes. I said, I want chicken and chips. Right?
Yeah.
Just want chicken and chips. And they're like, oh, we don't have those things in stock. But can't you just have this? Can't you just have that? And I'm like, I have that all the time in my house.
Yeah.
When I come out and I stay in a hotel, I want something different. I want a taste of home. I really want a taste of home.
That's it.
So, even more so when you're traveling. And then the other thing that's an issue is little things like, for example, you go out to a restaurant and you finally find a restaurant that maybe is doing, well, maybe not this whole thing, and I had a joke about this with my PA. eating with your hands. You're so used to it here, but in the UK, we must have our little knife and fork. And you know, and I once joked with my PA, and you know, she said, "Forget that thing. I'm not fussing with the knife and fork." I said, "That's okay, because I'll never take you to the UK then." You know, suddenly she decided she's going to learn how to use her knife and fork. I'm having some challenges on
I can see
StreamYard.
Yeah,
StreamYard is a little issue, but I think it's coming back.
It's back.
But we're rounding up. We're getting there. We're rounding up. Debbie, you've been an absolutely amazing guest. But if there are people listening or watching the playback of this and actually want to know how to contact you and actually want to book, you know, do you work with students collectively, or do you work with families individually? What's the setup? If they want to contact you for a consultation, how do they do that? And let's just wait for the stability of Facebook, because
you're saying,
we're having a little bit of a challenge there. Okay, we're back.
So if they want to contact you, if they want to know how to do a consultation with you, and they want to find out, we've not even touched on, somebody earlier was asking about visas and how easy it is to study in Canada, in America, and in the UK. Generally speaking, what percentage of applications to universities are there any issues with things like visas, and is that something you help with?
Yeah. So the thing is this: once you follow the rules, you're most likely going to get a visa. What usually happens when people get refused a visa is because they do not follow the rules and tick all the boxes, and also because they do not realize that applying for a student visa is different from applying for a visiting visa. So some people are very confident and say to themselves, "Oh, I want to apply. I want to apply for." Let me use the UK for example. And then they said to you, "But I have a 5-year visa. I have a 5-year visa. I always go to the UK." And I say to you, yeah, but it's totally different. You're going as a student. And one thing people do not realize is your visiting visa is a separate kind of visa. What you need to apply for a student visa is totally different, you know. But then when people do not follow the rules and tick the boxes, that is when they begin to have issues with getting a student visa. I would say a student visa is the easiest visa to kind of get. Yeah.
Right. But am I right in saying that if you've got a student visa, you can also work up to 16 hours per week, right?
Yeah, so if you have a student visa, you can work up to 20 hours a week.
20 hours.
Yeah.
Right. But on a visitor's visa, you're not allowed to work.
You're not allowed to work on a visiting visa. And if you're on a student visa, you are akin to being resident, because you will have access to health services, which you would have prepaid for. Yeah, so these are some of the differences. And these are the things that we kind of look at. And that is why I always say, do not, as much as you can, do not apply for a student visa all by yourself. Employ the services of a professional. Even if it's just to be a second eye to look at your application.
Right.
Yeah.
Debbie, we're rapidly running out of time. I mean, there are so many questions I could ask, but please let the audience know how can they contact you. Email or telephone or website. Where can they go to find out more information about your services?
The simplest thing will be to Google my name. So just Google my name and you will get my email and my phone number. That's one way. Another way will be to just send me a DM. My Facebook name is Debbie Oko. My Instagram name is DebsLight. You can always send me a DM, or you can send me an email at to debbieoko@gmail.com.
Okay.
Or they can reach out to you.
Once these go live, I think it will be good
at least because your name is Debbie, D-E-B-B-Y,
B-Y, D-A-B-Y, and your surname O. K-A-O-H, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Good. Debbie,
you've been an amazing guest as usual.
Thank you for having me, Carol.
We're going to be doing plenty more together.
Yeah.
Those of you that are watching, look out for Carol and Deb.
The DNC.
Coming up very soon. DNC. Oh dear.
Debbie, you've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much. We're running out and I don't want to lose this video. So I'm going to say thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Carol.
We'll talk very soon.
All right.
Debbie.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you for joining, everyone. Thank you for having us. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, Carol.
Awesome. Thank you to Debbie for being with us. Debbie, you've been awesome, and we've been talking about today about the challenges of education abroad. So even if you're watching or you are watching the playback and you know parents of children who are considering moving abroad and considering an education either in the UK, the US or Canada or anywhere for that matter, and you need services of someone like Debbie to guide you through that process, especially if you're doing it for the first time, then please get in touch with her, Google her, or send me a DM, send me a message, and I will certainly pass on her contact details to you. This is Carol from Seabird Consultancy and Training Services, and it's been a blast. Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook and on Instagram Live. Have a nice day.